liftoff and the clock has started.
Welcome to episode 14 of the Tesla Time Podcast, the UK Tesla Unofficial Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Winter, and on this week's show, we take a look at the latest news from the $25,000 Tesla Game Changer. We discuss interior car screens, Ford MachE news, bear with me on that one, CyberTruck developments, and the possibility that 2023 is going to be the year that Tesla changed the world. Along with much more, stick with me because it's that time again. It's Tesla time. Tesla time indeed. You join me on Thursday the 9th of September as I record this. I'm off on holiday tomorrow. We're going to a caravan holiday, which is going to be awesome. So just packing up the car, packing up the Tesla. I'm going to take my 3-pin socket plug with me so that I can plug the car in at the caravan. I hope they don't mind that. I'm planning to just feed the cable out of the window and plug the car in and charge my car for free, hopefully, which would be amazing. Thank you very much for joining me and listening to the Tesla Time Podcast. Last week we had a whole bunch of Tesla updates, and this week is no different. The Tesla wheel of news just keeps spinning. In particular, Elon hosted a Tesla all-hands call internally this week, so we'll be talking a lot about that. Because that has led us to plenty of news coming in. So without further ado, let's get going. So first up this week, the screen does not tilt. When the Model S, I'm obviously talking about the Model S here, was first announced and up for pre-order, this is the refresh Model S, I should say, the front center screen was set to tilt. It was on the Tesla.com website. People asking questions like, will it tilt left and right, up and down, or just left and right? Then the cars rolled out into customers' hands without a tilting screen. There was no feature or functionality to tilt the screen, but kind of rumours were rife that this might be coming in a software update in the future. And then we saw any mention of that feature being removed from Tesla.com. So as it stands right now, there is no mention of it anymore. Well, this week, Sawyer Merritt, who is a well-respected source of rumours, hearsay, and scoops, basically, tweeted to say, quote, "Sorry, I meant to share this info a few weeks ago. I was told the plaids that have been delivered do not have motors for the screens, but was told the mechanisms are in place so retrofits are possible. Tesla could have left out the motors due to part supply issues, but I don't know for sure," end quote. Now, from reviewers and drivers of the refreshed Model S, it does sound like this isn't a feature that's necessarily needed. The screen is big enough, it's bright enough. You know, I haven't seen anyone say, oh, it would be nice for the screen to tilt, you know. However, you know, it was originally in the specifications when people pre-ordered. So understandably, people are going to be a little bit miffed about this. Now, this is the yin and yang of Tesla, right? Exciting rumors and speculation means you get great podcasts, but you're constantly getting news and gossip and rumors and stuff, which is great. But also, that can lead to false promises, which I guess there's an argument for that here. Now, in terms of retrofits, we'll have to wait and see. I can't personally imagine this is a priority, and I personally wouldn't be surprised if this never happens. I understand that it is a crazy world at the moment, and maybe this was because of part shortages, as Sawyer mentions. But Elon would spin this into do you want your car without a tilting screen now, or do you want to wait 12 months kind of conversation? I can imagine that's kind of the corporate spin that you'd put on this, especially around part shortages. But the reality is something on the spec sheet wasn't delivered. So you've got to be really careful here, especially as you're taking people's money, under false promises, I guess you could argue. So I don't know, this one doesn't quite sit right with me. Don't get me wrong, this is first world problems. It's not the end of the world. But if you have a refreshed Model S or Model X, or you have one on order or pre-order, then, don't hold your breath on this one, I guess is the message. Now, as mentioned this week, a lot of the stories are coming off the back of an all-hands call that Elon hosted with Tesla employees and teams, and he talked a lot about the company's plans and updated the teams on a whole bunch of projects, I guess. There's a lot to get through here, so I'm just going to crank through these. Some are long, some are short, some are big, some are small. So let's just whiz through them as quickly as we can. Right. Firstly, okay, this one's a short one. So on the roof of Giga Texas, they are planning on spelling Tesla, Tesla, in ginormous font. Okay, the Gigafactory in Texas is right by the airport, so it's expected to be seen by anyone who's flying into or out of the US airport of Texas. And to me, this seems like a great marketing play and a way of, I guess, putting an emphasis on the importance of Tesla within that state, not just from a GDP or state GDP level, but also from things like employment and, all the other economic gains that such a huge manufacturer like Tesla having a footprint there will bring. And it's just that feel good factor. You fly into the airport, you see Tesla. I don't know, it's pretty cool. I like this one. Now, Elon also mentioned, and by the way, when I say mentioned, I mean, he apparently, from the sources I'm hearing, is he mentioned it very briefly, almost in passing. But nevertheless, Elon mentioned that he expects to have Giga Berlin signed off and approved by local government and law officials in October 2021, so just next month. Now, this is, of course, fantastic news. And what this does is potentially allows Elon to hit that corporate timeline that he set for Giga Berlin and Model Y production. And that timeline was, production would begin late 2021, and then full-scale ramping of the Model Y will occur in 2022. Well, you kind of look at the clock and you go, okay, well, if he gets all the red tape out the way in October, that then gives him a couple more months. We've seen imagery from Giga Berlin over the last few weeks, and the factory itself is coming along extremely nicely. I'd say it's almost complete. So, timeline looks on track. Now, the question still remains, however, will we see the next gen Model Y rolling off the production line first? Or will it be Plan B, which was mentioned in the... when was it mentioned? It was mentioned in the quarterly earnings call, which was that they would potentially start with today's 2170 battery cell Model Y whilst they wait for the 3680 battery production techniques to ramp. Now, in my opinion, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think it will be Plan B. I think it will be the latter. The hype for the Model Y is incredibly strong. We recently actually saw, side note by the way, this week there was a big electric vehicle national event in the UK, and someone brought a Model Y over. Actually, that Model Y was from Germany, obviously from Giga Shanghai, as Giga Shanghai are feeding Model Ys into Europe. And, looking around the car, I mean, it just fits the UK market perfectly. Like that kind of mini SUV, its performance, and, the family can all hop in it and get to where they need to be. It's great for school trips. It's great for shopping and, and loading up on a tip trip. Like, it's just, walking around it, you just see it and go, this was literally built for the UK. So it's ironic that we're one of the last countries in the world that can't get one. But anyway, in my opinion, I think it will be Plan B. I think they'll go for the 2170 to start with. And I think because of the hype, because of the expectation, because of the fit to the UK, I think they'll be successful with that. And I think they want to grab that hype as soon as they can. Also, from what we're hearing, and obviously I've reported this on the podcast, ramping of that 3680 chemistry sounds like it's extremely difficult. So I'd be interested to see how that goes. But what I'd be really interested to hear, I guess from the listeners, but also, the wider Tesla community, if you're eagerly looking for a Model Y and you live in the UK, say, a region where we cannot get hold of one, would you be willing to wait for the next gen Model Y? Bearing in mind, right now, we haven't really seen, direct real world detail around that next gen performance, that next gen range and efficiencies. So, would you want to wait for a next gen? Or are you just so eager you just want your Model Y now, and you'll take a 2170 with a 360 mile, 350 mile range, I think it is, I've seen comparisons to the Model 3 on UK roads this week, and by all accounts, the Model Y long range and Model 3 long range are pretty much bang on, which is incredible, as in pretty much the same, which is incredible. Bear in mind, the Model Y is a bigger, I guess, heavier car as well. So, interested to see what the community will do there. But I think either way, Tesla can't lose if they open up the Model Y floodgates as soon as possible. Okay, let's talk CyberTruck, because that was brought up next on the call, and a quick update for you. So what do we know? Level set. So we know the Cybertruck is going to be made out of Giga Texas. We also know that production has been pushed back to 2022. We know that because a message was sent out to all reservation holders, by the way. And if you go on the website now, that's what it says on Tesla.com. Now, last week, a drone flew around the steel factory where the Cybertruck is set to have its exoskeleton external body kind of made. Now, the drone footage of the Steel Dynamics factory in Stinton showed that the building is, it's coming along nicely. There's a roof, which is obviously important, and I'm just looking at the pictures now. There's machinery being installed already, so it's coming along nicely, right? Now, the steel produced at this factory, side note, like I say, will be used for the Cybertruck, but also for Elon's SpaceX Starship program, which is quite cool that your car's body is made at the same place where rocket ships are made. So that's cool, and also a good sign that the factory's coming along nicely. Now, Elon then reported this week on the all hands call, quote, "Production for the Cybertruck starting late 2022 and volume production 2023, end quote. So that was the delay I think we were all waiting for. And of course, unsurprisingly, Elon, went into more detail and emphasized the difficulty in production, and especially in production of such a strange vehicle, a car that is unlike anything Tesla have ever made, let alone the rest of the industry. And reading on this article, they've got pictures of the Cybertruck, that prototype driving around Giga Texas. And even though I know that's a real photo, and even though I can literally see Elon in the front driving it, it still looks like I can't explain it. It still looks like a concept, like one of those mock-up drawings where they make it look as realistic as possible. Like, it looks like one of those. Even though I'm looking at it now, I know that's a real photo. I still can't get my head around that is going to be coming out. It's just incredible. Anyway, Elon also said on the call, quote, "It will be a special project, like a glitch in the Matrix, like if Neo had a car," end quote. But I know that this delay is a bit of a disappointment, that we're not going to see the car for well over a year now, which is a huge shame. But you kind of take a second to think about what's on Tesla's plate at the moment. They're ramping Model Y globally. We've just discussed that in Giga Berlin, but also in Giga Texas. They're ramping the 3680 cell production globally. And don't forget, it's those cells that are needed for the Cybertruck to get anywhere near the range estimates that they are providing the market today. They've got hundreds of fully finished Model S's that are currently sat in car parks. When I say fully finished, from the outside, they're all done. They are literally, painted, everything. They're all done. Now, what's the problem here is a chip shortage, global chip shortage. So they're missing a certain chip. So those cars that have been ordered by customers are sat in a car park and have been for the best part of, 2 months now. And they need to get those cars out to customers. On top of that, they've got the introduction of the refreshed Model X, which still isn't out yet. There's just so much new stuff going on. I guess, it is a disappointment, but we just have to be patient. And if you need a Tesla Cybertruck fix, then go online and look at some of the photos of the concept vehicle driving around. It's insane. Okay, next up on the call, Elon mentions the $25,000 Tesla. Now, we know that this was announced back at Battery Day, but now we know it won't be called the Model 2, which is incredible, really, because I'll hold my hands up here. I've been referring to it as the Model 2 for the last few weeks now. So sorry about that. To be fair, I always did do air quotes. You just didn't always see them because obviously it's on podcast form. But anyway, Elon confirmed on the call it will not be called the Model 2. Elon explained that the Model 3 was meant to be called the Model E, but Ford had trademarked, Model E already, so they went with the 3. So by the sounds of it, what he's saying there is we're going to be sticking with letters. So you've got the S, the X, the Y, and this will be another letter rather than a number, which the Model 3 is. But that was because they couldn't get E, so it was a bit of a joke. Anyway, Elon then said, or should I say asked, right, sit down for this one, do we want to have this car to have a steering wheel and pedals, end quote. So, that, as you can imagine, that sent Twitter into a meltdown when that was kind of leaked out. And by the way, just a warning, I'm sure you will see a clickbaity headline somewhere saying something like, I don't know, Tesla are releasing cars with no steering wheels from now on, or whatever, something like that. Just be warned. And a bit of a heads up here. I listen to Elon speak a lot, right? And this is classic Elon, right? He's dropping a hint, yes. He's leaning in on his confidence of FSD. But this is not a confirmation in any way. Sometimes Elon gets onto it's hard. He kind of finds this balance of it sounds like he's bumbling along, like he's kind of thinking out loud and it doesn't sound planned. But, Elon is extremely clever. He knows what he's doing. When he asked this question, yeah, he's probably thinking out loud. He's thinking of, an FSD conversation he's just come out of or whatever. This is in no way, shape or form a confirmation. So before, Twitter melts down even more, just, hold your horses. I think the model... Well, I don't know what it's called now. I think the $25,000 car will come with a steering wheel and pedals. But who knows? If this comes out in 2023, an Electrek wrote on an article this week in which they said, quote, Tesla aims to release the $25,000 electric car in 2023. If this does come out in 2023, then who knows where FSD will be? We talked about it in episode 13 of the Tesla Time podcast. FSD is coming along very quick now. Beta 10 is just around the corner. In fact, it's probably the closed beta is probably out by the time you hear this. With 10.1 already announced, it's flowing a lot quicker. So if it is 2023, who knows where we'll be? Also, quickly, whilst we're on 2023. We're expecting currently to be released, to come out of Tesla factories for the mass market. We're expecting the Cybertruck. We're expecting the $25,000 hatchback I just mentioned, and the Tesla Roadster, which is the end of the debate car. Now, listen, I don't know if that is doable, but I mean, if it was doable, I think it would be the most incredible year Tesla have ever had. But, listen, I don't know. Seems too good to be true, I guess. But fingers crossed on that one. Okay, let's talk about the Supercharger Network opening up. Now, Elon mentioned on the call that they are good to go with the opening of the network. Now, in the UK Tesla owners forum and Facebook group, they actually ran a poll last week around the biggest concerns for Tesla owners in the near future, right? And the winner, or loser, depending on how you look at it, the one with the most votes, was Tesla opening up the Supercharger network. Now, this was a landslide with 690 votes. While second place, which is all around, I think it was Dutch SIM concerns and the fact you can't get UK entertainment content. And the third place was all around, I'm just checking, autopilot and lane change issues, right? Those both, so second and third place got in and around 150 votes, and then it drops to 80, okay? Tesla opening up Supercharger Network, 690 votes, landslide. So this is obviously a massive, massive concern for Tesla owners, and understandably, there's more chance of queues, there's more chance of double parking, as in, sharing charges now. The corporate benefits are absolutely clear to see, right? More revenue for Tesla through more people paying to charge, and the marketing, like I mentioned last week, more people in the Tesla ecosystem, more people parked next to and hopefully speaking to Tesla owners, so there's absolutely a benefit for the company and the company's brand. However, my question is, what's the benefit for Tesla owners? What's the benefit for those people who have already taken the risk and invested in such a company such as Tesla? They are a unique company. They are trying to do something different, and they wouldn't be where they are now without customer uptake. And those customers deserve to be rewarded, and they are, with fantastic products. But by doing something like this, what's the benefit for Tesla owners? The only way that this ends well for Tesla owners is if Tesla take that extra revenue that they're going to be earning through hopefully sales boosts with more people being in the Tesla ecosystem, and also revenue from more people paying to charge. If they take that and they plug that straight back in, pardon the pun, into supercharging, and they build out more and more superchargers, I understand why they've done this, and I've talked about this in the past. You can't imagine going to a service station in 2040 and seeing Tesla chargers, Ford chargers, Audi chargers, BMW chargers. Like that just doesn't sit right? So, I understand why they've done it, but what's the benefit for Tesla owners? And that mustn't be forgotten. So, listen, it sounds like from this, Europe are going to go first. Elon has mentioned that on the call, that Europe will be opening up next month. So that's October. So that's really not far away now. Let's see how it goes. I can't wait to report on how it goes. It's going to be, if it's anything like anything else Tesla do first or new or different, it's going to be bumpy. But let's wait and see on that one. Okay, go with me on this one. I actually want to report some Ford MachE news. I understand this is a Tesla podcast. Tesla is all we care about, but just give me a sec, all right? Teslarati reported this week, quote, British police forces in the United Kingdom are examining the advantages of adding electric cars to their fleets. Ford's Mustang MacE seems to be the overwhelming preference currently. The Detroit-based automaker revealed a customised variant of its first EV at the Emergency Services Show in Birmingham. The MacE, present at the event, was outfitted with a typical yellow and blue emergency vehicle design, and Metro Police forces in London are requesting a unit for evaluation as it could be added to the fleet, end quote. This interested me twofold. So first and foremost, this is great news, right? And don't forget the mission statement: to drive electrification, sustainable energy within automation, within the automotive industry, all that stuff. And you've got to think that it was only 4 weeks ago I reported that British police were examining the Tesla. They're now examining the MacE. More options. That's exactly what we want to be seeing. So, first of all, let's take our hats off to Ford here. It sounds like they've got a really good car. Now, my only concern here, right, is that the standard, so the one at the show that they mentioned in Birmingham, the Ford MacE that they presented was the standard range trim, right? And that packs a range of 211 miles on a full charge. There is, now to be fair, there are longer range versions. I think the equivalent to the long range is 305 miles of range, which I'm assuming is the one they would go for in the end. But that's not a whole bunch of miles. And, the kind of work that these cars are doing, the amount of miles that they're doing in a day, that would be a concern to me. Also, I noticed that Teslarati commented on some concerns within the industry around things like lights, sirens, and additional computers that are obviously required within police vehicles. Would they drain the battery faster than anticipated? And on top of that, we know Tesla pride themselves on their efficiency ratings and, their real-world range versus their ticketed or marketed range. So whereas Ford don't have such a good track record with that. At first, this is a great story, and I still think it is a great story. My main concern here is we don't want, another EV manufacturer to give EVs a bad name, within, a country or within a police force or whatever. So that would be my only concern. However, the British police, I'm sure, will do huge amounts of stringent testing like they're doing on the Model 3 now, before anything is, any orders are placed or anything like that. So, I'm confident in that, absolutely. So, I wanted to report that because I think it's a good showing of Tesla driving forward, kind of dragging everyone else with them. And hats off to the British police for being open enough to go and look at other alternatives to your typical ICE engine vehicles. And that about does it for this week's episode of the Tesla Time podcast. That's a wrap on episode 14. Thank you so much for listening. I hope I was able to digest and present to you all the news, rumours and gossip from the world of Tesla in a tightly packed news show. That's kind of the feel that I want to go for. I want it to be short, sharp and punchy. Before I wrap up, I want to say a massive thank you for listening, and if you want to be a part of the show, you absolutely can. If you want to just get in contact with me and ask a question or whatever, more than happy to chat. My favourite thing to do is talk EVs and talk Tesla, so you can contact me on teslatimepodcast@gmail.com. For now though, that about does it. Thank you so much for listening. Take it easy, everyone. Stay safe. Peace.
Tesla time.